Welcome back to this video on the tutorial for the tanks. So in the past videos we have covered all the basics, all the skeletons, the physical assets, how to set up the 3D tracks, how to set up every external components. In this video we are going to actually start getting inside the tank and making sure we have the right views and we can cycle through views and cycle through seats. So this video is going to be a bit more intensive than the previous one, so I will try to explain you as much things as I can into as many detail as possible. So in here, what we are going to do is a lot of looking at other tanks. What kind of seat do I need and how was it set up for a similar tank? In Sherman tank, for instance, the hatch for the driver is very simple. It's like a rotation like this, and it rotates, and that's it. But this tank is going to be a tiny bit more complex because the animation of the hatch is it goes up, and only then it rotates. So I have never done this kind of setup before, but I know it's on the Tiger. So let's look at how that was done on the Tiger. And then we can just copy paste the nodes and make it work for our vehicle. So first thing we need to do is go into this King Tiger. Inside the main BP here, we will go into seats, and that's where most of this video is going to be focused on the seat. Okay. So in seat, we know this vehicle has 4 playable positions. We know it's a 5-seater, but the loader is not playable in PostScriptum. So we have a driver that is going to be seat number 0. Then we have the gunner that is going to be seat number 1. 2 is going to be the seat for the hull gunner. And 3 is going to be the commander's seat right here. So let's start with the driver. So the driver, by default, you should not need to change any of these. Like, this should already be properly set up. But let's look at a vehicle that is using a custom system, and I have the Panda 3080 in mind. This vehicle is slightly different. In order to get in as the driver on the right hand side here, that would be the driver's seat. The driver is actually going through the hull gunner's hatch. So what it means is the hull gunner and the driver, they both use the same hatch in order to get into their seats. So what we tell the driver here is use this entry and then teleport me here. So that looks pretty much like this. So I'm going to have the 3080 on the left and the King Tiger on the right. Let's look at the seats. So for the driver, and now we can see the seat entry component is driver, hull, gunner entry, while on the King Tiger it's just driver entry. So what that is it is just looking at this volume, and the name of this volume is driver, hull, gunner entry. So the name of that sphere is actually more than display. It is what is the system looking for. So if I go back in my seat, it is going to look for that name, and then my driver exit is going to be my driver exit. So this name here is the name of the sphere. So in the case of my King Tiger, the driver is actually entering through the driver's hatch, so there is no need of combining them. So this is named driver entry, and that same name you will find it here as driver entry. Then driver exit is that point we made here, driver exit. And what type of seat is that? So this is a seat driver. So if we go into that folder, into that tab, we can see we have a seat, all the bases. So if I go in vehicles common, and then I have a seat folder, it's all the type of seats we have in PS. So we have a seat commander, we have a seat driver, a seat gunner, and a seat hull gunner. So if I look inside the seat driver, it's just a basic UI. It's how is the seat going to be named, what kind of UI is going to be used when I get into that seat, how long do I take in seconds to get in, and the sound of the hatch, the sound of the hatch getting out, etc., etc. So this, usually you should never have to worry about this. It is just, okay, this is a driver's seat, let's use the driver's seat data. Then we have the seat views, and that's where it becomes more interesting. So I'm gonna open everything, And I have an initial seat view. So when I get in from outside, what is my default view? So in this case, it's going to be 0. So I know that my default view is going to be a vision port. But as we remember, there is no vision port on that vehicle. So I'm going to delete the vision port completely. So now when I get in, 0 is the driver periscope. And do I have a periscope? Yes, this is the periscope I'm going to use. And then the second view is going to be seat view driver turned out. So it is literally me going from this view. I'm going to scroll up, that will open that hatch, and my head will pop here and I will be able to look around. So I only have 2 positions in that seat. So this is correct. I have 0 and 1, and 0 is default. So now you can see that in the default seat, I have a view data again. And here I have a bunch of different views. So here I want to work with the driver. This is a driver seat. So I have all the different types of view that are available for a driver. I have a driver periscope, I have a driver sight, a driver turnout, and a driver vision port. So the driver sight is this. This guy has a driver sight. This is a sight. A vision port is this. It's the object with an object. A periscope is, we don't have periscope on this guy. A periscope is this. And then we have only those 4 options, or turnout. A turnout is, like we said, being here looking around. So let's go back into my BP. So I have a seat driver periscope and a seat driver turnout, which is correct. So we can actually test that now in action. Ooh, actually no, before we do that, let me show you what's wrong. Hopefully I'm not going to crash. If I crash, I will just restart the editor. So I have to get on the tank, enter as driver, Alt F, no animation yet. Okay, so this is my periscope where I've set it. If I press Control, I can't look around because this is a fixed periscope, and I will show you in a second. And that's where the issue is. So this is something I haven't done yet, is tell my player where is his position, because right now I'm the world origin of the tank. First thing, is it a fixed periscope? How do I know that? I mean, this thing is not going to be able to rotate. If I look at, that is just a static periscope. So I would go here, and there should be here an option telling me allow to, I think that moved. Yes, oh, it's in composite view module. Okay, that's changed. Wasn't there yesterday. Composite view module. Oh, it's here now. Okay. It used to be right under the material. Now it's here. So if I click this guy, then when I press Control, I can look around rotating my periscope. And if I untick it, then it's a static periscope, which is what it is in this case. So now we have to set all the positions for my soldier. Where is my soldier going to be when his head is popped out? Where is my hull gunner going to be? Where is my gunner going to be, etc. So to set this, we only need the skeleton of this. So I'm going to go in skeleton here. That's the skeleton, the blue one. And I'm going to take one that is already done. Axis, tiger, skeleton, skeleton. Okay. So tiger on the right, on the left, Koenig's tiger on the right. So what do I need? Let's look. Main gun muzzle. So this is where the projectile is going to spawn and the effects on firing. So I need one of those. And it is in recoil. Copy, paste, paste. Oh, that's a longer cannon. Okay. I'm just going to make it centered. Okay. Then gunner cam. So the gunner cam is where is my sight. So it should be here. So I'm going to copy this little guy. Gunner cam, and this one is in the elevation. It's not in the recoil because we don't want the sight to go back with the cannon. So the sight on this little guy is here, somewhere around that. Okay. Then we have the turret muzzle MG, so that's the coax. Same thing, it's in elevation, it's not in recoil. The MG is right here. So that's going to spawn our projectile and spawn a smoky effects on firing. Next, Commander Periscope Cam. So this one is the periscope that allows you to look around and zoom. It's the one with the grid, if you guys remember from the old system. So I'm going to add one on this guy as well. It's going to be on the traverse. Okay. And I'm going to set it, I don't know where it would be. I don't think it would be here, but it's going to be here for reasons. Something like this. Maybe it would, I think in real life they open the hatch and they have like a physical periscope they hold, like something in their hand. But we don't have that. The commander seat, so that's where the guy is going to be seated. Commander seat, it's in the traverse. So I'm going to keep this default, we will tweak that position later. Gunner seat, same deal. I think it's a bit forward, we'll tweak that later. Then, hull MG muzzle, so that's the FX, and the sight, so that's where the view would be. So I think the view would actually be more something like this. I'm going to save this now. Okay, I need those two into the hull MG. I don't see it. I don't see it. Here. Okay, let's set it up. The sight would be somewhere like this, and the muzzle would be here. Okay, let's move on. Driver hatch cam. I don't think we need this one. Let's not copy it. I don't think this one is needed. I'm not sure yet. Let's figure it out later. The driver seat that I need. So yeah, I think it's going to be around here for now. The hull gunner seat we need. It's going to be around here-ish. The driver turn in. I think we need that one. Gonna take it to, because where is the guy, the driver, where is he when he's turned in, when he's inside, and where is he when he's turned out? So we need both of them. We need the track socket. The track socket is going to tell you where is that destroyed mesh on the track. So I'm going to move it later, and we have one for the right track as well. Engine effects. This one is self-explanatory. It's the effect for the engine. My engine would be around here, so that's when it explodes, or if it's on fire, where the fire is going to be. Driver turn out, that one I need. This one will tweak during runtime. HG out, hull gunner, can he turn out on this tank? I think he can, yes, we have that bone thing. So HG out, we'll tweak it later. So now I have all my sockets, so let's try again. Okay, let's turn out. Okay, I'm turned out, I'm not in the right position, so that I can change live. Hold on, just gonna do this, make the window a tiny bit smaller. So I need my driver turned out socket, and if I move this, okay, so it wasn't this one, so this one is useless. We don't need the turnout, we need driver seat. Yeah, that's the one I want to move. So we can refine this a little bit later. Now it's just roughly where I should be. Maybe a tiny bit lower, so I'm not too exposed. Yeah, that looks like a good position. Okay, let's go to the gunner seat. Okay, my sight is where it should be. However, when I turn out, oh yes, we haven't set that seat up, so let's not get ahead of ourselves. Now I have a properly set up driver. I'm going to focus on the second seat. So one is the gunner. So the gunner is actually using the commander entry. So he's using this sphere to get in. So it's the commander and gunner entry. And he's using his gunner exit. It's the seat gunner. Let's look at all the views we have for the gunner. So this is from the Tiger. We have initial view would be 1. So 1 was this, so it was the cannon sight. We had a sight slit. So let's look at the Tiger, see what's what. Just so we can understand the system. Axis, Tiger, BP, Tiger. Okay, so the Tiger, oh yes, we had the Tiger, the gun view, and we had the side view that would be this one here. So there's a little hatch here allowing you to look on the side. And what else did we have? A gunner periscope. So if you would scroll up, I think I was using this. Yes, so I gave on purpose the gunner, I gave him the loader periscope just so he could be a bit less blind. So this is gamey. Realistically speaking, the gunner would not have access to that periscope, but I went with it. It's a game design decision. So I will do something similar to this guy. I will give him, well, he doesn't have a side slit, so he will have this view, and I'm going to give him the loader periscope. Let's do that now. So I am missing a periscope here. So in order to bring a new view, either I can copy paste it from an existing tank that have an existing system. That's what I'm going to do to avoid mistakes. So I am going to copy this guy here. Copy, paste, and it's supposed to be linked to the traverse. So when the turret rotates, my periscope rotates. And I'm going to set it around here. Something like this, maybe a tiny bit forward. And this is not a rotating periscope, so I will have to make sure that this periscope cannot be rotated. Untick. So now that thing cannot be rotated. What I also need is its name. The name is very important. Rename beam. Okay. So let's have another look at our seats. We have a gunner sight slit. No, we do not. So I'm going to delete. So now we only have two views. We have a cannon sight and we have a gunner periscope, which is this guy. So the default seat is the sight. I'm going to set this to 0. And I have to set my overlay widget. So the widget is the sight of the cannon. So this is using the the Tiger, but I think the King Tiger has a different sight. So let me look at the old system. Vehicle, axis, Koenigs Tiger. Yes, that's what I want. That's the view of the Koenigs Tiger. So I am going to move. No, I'm going to copy. I will delete it later. I'm going to copy this into Blueprint. So this is the old tank, the one that is in current PS, and this is the new system. So I am going to plug this guy into my seat. Oh, that's the Tiger. Let's not fuck it up. Here. So now I have the proper sight, the proper view, and that is the wrong turret. That is something we will fix right now. So what this is, if I select it, it's a Panzer 6 Tiger turret seat pon. So this is, if I open it, this is linked to the BP base turret. So I need this, but I need a Koenigs Tiger version of it. So I'm going to copy this as well in here. And rename this accordingly. Koenig S and small t, yeah, Koenigs Tiger turret seat pon. I'll show you what's inside so you understand why we have to duplicate it. Okay, so before I show you, let's plug it here so we don't forget. Okay, so now we have the seat properly set up for the Koenigsegg Tiger Gunner. Let's look at the turret seat. So basically inside the turret, this is where you are going to set the weaponry. Let's look down. Everything that I collapse now is just useless, don't worry about it. So now we have the sound of the turret. So now it allows me to see that the Tiger is not using the right sound, it's using the allied sound when it should be using the axis sound. So I'm going to say axis turret elevation, and that is a start sound, and it should be a Q. So yes, that is the correct sound. Then we have the stop sound, and we have the loop sound. Yes, that's correct for the manual. And then we have the hydraulic, which is going to be axis turret traverse, and it's supposed to be a Q. So this is the start sound. Okay, let's go in the folder. Okay, then we have a loop sound, and then we should have a stop sound. Okay. Then here we have the sound that it makes when it's reloading the gun. Here, all of this we will worry later. This is the weaponry tutorial. We're not there yet. And with some more sounds, and this is where all the shells are also held. Again, we're getting ahead of ourselves. This is in the weaponry tutorial. Let's get back to doing seats. So now my gunner seat is done. I'm going to work on the hull gunner. So the hull gunner is also using its own entry, the hull gunner entry. It's a seat hull gunner. We have a total of 3 views. So we have the MG view, we have a periscope view, that would be this one, and we have a turned out view, would be looking here. So at least we are correct in the number of views. Now we just need to, it's the MG34, so that's the correct site. And this is not correct. Same as the turret, we have to use a palm. So I'm gonna go here and copy this guy over to our new tank. So this hull gunner palm here is where you put all the information, how many bullets, how many clips or magazines, how the sound it makes, how long it takes to reload, etc. So that will also be in the weaponry tutorial, but we need to set the seat now. So it's Koenigsegg small t Tiger seat. And then I'm going to plug that one here. Okay, let's move on to the last seat, is the commander. So the commander is using the same entry as the gunner. It's using its own exit. It's a seat commander. We have 4 views inside. So we have a side periscope, which is going to be the one linked to the socket we've created here. We have a command cupola, which is going to be this view. We have a peek out, which is going to be this hatch slightly open so I can look out, and then a fully turned out view. So we're using the right site for the periscope. It's this one. Yes, the German one is the one with the lines. Then we have the cupola, which is this mesh. Then we have the peek out. Then we have the turned out, which is going to be using a base commander seat. This one is not custom, so this one should work just fine. It allows us to use binocular, etc., etc. So now we have to test every seat, making sure that it works. Okay, let's start with the hull gunner. We already tested the driver and it was okay, so I'm getting in. Default view is MG. It's not moving because we haven't done the animation yet, so we will check that later. If I scroll down, I have nothing. If I scroll up, I have this periscope, and I should not be able to rotate it. I'm pressing Control and I can't rotate it, so that's correct. And then I scroll up one more time and I'm turning out. I'm just not where I should be, so we are going to move the socket. So it's going to be skeleton socket. And I think it was called AG something something. AG out. Let's see if that's the guy. So if I move this guy, it is the guy. Okay, so let's see, maybe a bit lower. Yeah, we'll tweak that later, but that is quite okay for now. Let's go back. So driver is good, hull gunner is good. Let's go to the gunner itself. So I have my view, I can zero my gun, I can fire my gun, I have my MG. If I scroll down, I have no views. If I scroll up, I have my periscope view from the loader side. If I press Control, I cannot rotate my periscope, so that means it's a static periscope, which is good. And I can rotate my turret, but I haven't done the animation yet, so the turret cannot rotate. Let's test the commander. Okay, first view is cupola. I can zoom in and out. I can look up and down. If I scroll down, I have my periscope. I can zoom. Scrolling down from here is, I have nothing lower than this, so I'll go back to my cupola, scroll up. I'm kind of peeked out, and then I scroll up one more time. I'm fully exposed, but here again, we have to tweak the socket. And this one will be a lot easier to tweak when we're done with the animation, so I can actually see how the hatch is going to look like. But let's do it for now anyway. I'm just going to be in some sort of good enough position. Yeah, let's say that is, for the time being, that's good enough. Okay, so now we have all the seats correct. I think we need to go into animation. Save, save, okay. So now to animate the hatch, fairly easy. We don't reinvent the wheel, we just take it from a tank that already works. So it is in blueprints, we have the animation blueprint. We didn't make it here for us, it's here, this little guy. So this is what we need. This is what we have right now. So we can see we have nothing in, and here we have a bunch of things. So I need a few things from here. Hold on, something is missing here now. Oh yeah, that's the anim graph. Anim graph. Ah shit, I'm not gonna be able to find it. Where is? Oh, never had to do it before. I need my anim graph. Reset layout, maybe. Okay, that's not it. Ah man, I'm gonna look like an idiot because I don't know where it is. Maybe I went past it and I just didn't see it. So I think what we're gonna do is we will make another video for animation. I'm gonna leave it here and I'll see you in the next video with the anim graph backup. See you.